Okay, I just want to say a few things about some issues that are being flared up again to an absolutely ridiculous height. Before I go on, I'm sorry, I got a little cold, and sorry if this video seems a bit crappy. I'm doing this with a crappy ass webcam, so don't let that deter you from watching this video. Anyway, the height I am talking about is the constant hate, bickering, bashing of John Cena on the WWE on a public forum such as YouTube of biasness, or the internet in general. Before I get on with this though, let me point out that before you go on with you're a blind mark or you're clueless or whatever, I'm saying this once and only once. I'm not a blind WWE sheep mark fanboy. I am not an idiot or unintelligent. I am not saying anything that you try to spew back because I don't follow the trend of WWE sucks, so I'm a smart / real fan. Nor am I defending Cena or WWE blindly. I am basically giving an unbiased point of view on Cena and the WWE and giving my thoughts on the ridiculous hate of both. So let's not beat around the bush. Let me get to my point. The first up is the hate on Cena. But before that though, I want to directly address PS Power's insane logic of why Cena sucks to the point that he claims Zeus is better than Cena. I'll do it like you, and I'll break it down into 3 parts. But before I do so though, let me just say that you didn't have to break it down into 3 reasons, as the 3 are centered around the same thing, and that's the booking of Cena. However, I'll basically do that. I'll break it down. Part 1 is the credibility. I cannot see how you can say Cena doesn't have credibility, especially for the reasons you've stated. Cena started off as a blue chipper on SmackDown. Once he turned heel and started rapping, people started loving him, and I didn't see, know, or hear any he's a poser statements on the internet. People were on his cop for the lack of better term. He was new, he was fresh, he was brass, he was cocky, and arrogant, and the fans ate it up like ice cream, so to speak. When you have the fans behind you, whether it's cheers or boos, regardless of your character or what your character is, that's credibility. Simple as that. If you can maintain reaction from the fans, like I said, whether it's cheers or boos, that's credibility right there. Sure, having some type of real background does help with credibility, like the Jesse Ventura point you made, PS Power. And I'll give you that. That was an excellent point. However, credibility is received and earned in other ways than just that. However, back to Cena though. During that time, the fans, and I'm sure a lot of those fans are haters now, were claiming Cena's the next big thing. They were getting behind him to the point where they wanted him to succeed. They got behind Cena and got him pushed. They built him up. He earned credibility for his character because of the fans. You cannot deny that one bit. The fans basically did that. You might be saying Cena doesn't have credibility now, but even though you have a slightly little point, and I'll get to that later, I disagree with it. Though, despite what he has been through because of the booking, he is still credible. Because if he wasn't credible, he wouldn't be where he is now. I don't want to hear that he sells tickets, he gets asses in the seat, or whatever, either, because that's ridiculous. He came up from nothing, basically the blue chipper, and he somehow got the fans behind him. And despite the horrid booking of Cena on Raw, he hasn't lost credibility at all. Despite the hate now, he has still been able to maintain consistency in the reaction from fans. Either way, boo or cheer, he provokes reaction from the fans. That, my friend, is credibility. Part 2, properly booked / managed. Well, I'll give you this, and I'm a Cena fan, and I'll admit this. He hasn't been properly booked well, since he came to Raw, I should say, to be more specific. The reason why Cena is getting hated now is purely because of horrid booking, plain and simple. I can understand and see why people are upset that he's being booked like he is. I can see why people are sick of Cena because of that. However, hating Cena because of something out of his control, I just think that's ridiculous. On SmackDown, he was booked correctly. They hit his weaknesses and exploited his strengths. And that's why he wasn't hated like he is now. Or that's why he wasn't hated then like he is now. Basically, that's booking's fault, not Cena's. Consistency. Like I said earlier, it ties in with booking. Consistency is the key in keeping characters fresh and for people to buy into them. Despite the lack of consistency in keeping Cena's character fresh, Cena still is the biggest and the highest superstar to get any kind of reaction. And that is consistency, and that's credibility. Whether it's cheers or boos, it's consistent, and that's credibility. Even though credibility is not part of this incident, or this part, it's still consistent, and it ties in, it's basically the same thing, really. Undertaker is the prime example of what happens when tweaking the character works to the advantage. Back in the late 90s, when they had Taker lose some of the Dead Man Mystique in that Austin feud, he left for a while, then came back as American Badass. Regardless of if anyone liked it or not, it worked, simple as that. And once that started to get stale, he was reverted back to the Dead Man. This is the type of consistency that works, if done right. The only problem with Cena is that the booking hasn't done it. So you can't really penalize Cena for it. It's the booking's fault, like I said above. It all ties in with booking. As far as the 5 moves or limited moveset goes, let me clarify it for you. Movesets don't dictate or reflect or indicate what a wrestler is capable of or is based for judging a wrestler's talent or wrestling ability. Cena may have those moves, yes, but it doesn't mean that's all he does or knows. You're blind, point blank, if you think that. Cena wrestles with a variety of moves, but those 5 moves are called signature moves. And he does wrestle with moves besides the signature moves. All wrestlers have had some type of signature move or moves, and they aren't bashed for it. Why is that? Bret Hart, internet god, so to speak, had his own signature moves. Let me see, let me count. The inverted atomic drop, the elbow from the middle rope, sharpshooter, and a few others. Those are his signature moves. Like Cena has. Cena has his own. And as did the likes of Hogan, Rock, Austin, and so on. But there isn't hate for them for that reason. There ain't no bashing of them for that reason. So why is Cena being bashed for it when you can't bash them for it? That's contradicting, that's illogical, and that's hypocritical. So basically, you and anyone else using this as a reason to bash Cena are invalidated because of the reason I just stated. You'll probably respond, well, with he uses the same moves and wins like Superman or whatever. Well, that's completely irrelevant when it comes to bashing him for the moves. He wins like he does because it's booked that way. The amount of moves or his wrestling ability has nothing to do with it. The only valid reason Cena haters have to hate him is because of the horrid booking, shoving him down people's throats. That's pretty much it, in my opinion. Unless someone can logically prove to me otherwise, that's how I see it, and that's how it is. One last thing, though, that I need to say on this